What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. Now, in this video right here, how is Pablo using ALG to learn Chinese? I did a random shout out to another YouTuber and I said, hey, Stuart, this is the YouTuber in question, how good is his Thai? Because obviously he learned Thai via ALG, the automatic language growth method, and I was kind of curious to know because, well, you know, he's a big influencer in the space for ALG, and well, Stuart, my man, dropped a video 22 hours ago, and look at that goddamn thumbnail, bro. I look like the type of person who's looking down into the well saying, it puts the lotion on the skin. So we're going to watch this and see how good his Thai actually is. It's 33 minutes long. This is going to be a long one. I hope you guys are ready for some deep linguistic analysis.
Does ALG really work when it comes to language learning? Now, for those of you who don't know ALG, this is the automatic language growth system that was developed by a linguist. He was actually originally a physicist, Marvin Brown.
If any of you are watching this and curious why I would care about this method and why I care about Pablo and stuff, just... I have an entire series on my channel where I'm learning Spanish using this method, and the service I'm using, Dreaming Spanish, was actually, I guess, founded, invented, set up by Pablo. Like, he was the guy who set it up. So, and he credits his Thai abilities to ALG, and that's why, you know, he pushes ALG. So, I am curious to see where his Thai is at, because there is not many examples. In fact, there's hardly any I'm aware of people who have learnt a language purely by ALG, not using any type of traditional method, as in not using flashcards, not using grammar books. They just did the full pure ALG approach. So this is going to be interesting to see, you know, how good his accent is, how good his language is. Overall, you know, grammar, word selection, etc.
So, Marvin Brown, I have been hugely inspired by Marvin Brown, his PhD thesis on...
Marvin Brown's the guy who invented ALG.
Thai linguistics, TAI, and this book From Ancient Thai to Modern Dialects. That changed the way that I thought about language and sound and phonology. And even in my book up there, Cracking Thai Fundamentals, you will see heavily inspired by Marvin Brown. If you don't have a copy and you're learning Thai, get one. Click on the link below. Otherwise, you can order it via Amazon if you're not in Thailand. But that's not what we're here today for, so let me just turn that off. So Marvin Brown developed this ALG, automatic language growth system, in Thailand because he noticed no matter how he tried, if he learnt the formal ways, and he'd learnt through the military, from what I understand, and different formal ways, also trained linguistically, he couldn't help but analyze language, and he couldn't help but notice that his language never really sounded natural. And so with testing and trying different things back and forth, in 1984, he came up with this system, launched with the AUA Learning Institute, where they would do this ALG, automatic learning growth system, where people would listen for 800 to 1,000 hours, not speaking. And the idea is that you just hear Thai naturally for hundreds of hours, just like a kid would, and you won't be trying to translate things. Rather, you'll just have so much...
Obviously, I've spoken about my disagreements with how kids do things regarding ALG in many videos before. I literally have a series called, you know, My Disagreements with ALG, so you can go watch that if you want to hear that. One of them is the whole kids thing.
Comprehensible input going into you that you have absorbed the sounds, you've absorbed the language structures, you've absorbed the phonology of the language, and it will start coming out naturally. So if you watch my clips over the past couple of weeks, you would see the pros and cons, and I've talked about whether or not I use this system of just getting huge input in the beginning, or I speak straight out. And this has almost gotten to a cult-like status with some language learners, some schools of thought when it comes to language learning. And then you've got people like Evildea.
For those who don't know what ALG is, automatic language growth, I'm basically testing that methodology via Spanish, via my Dreaming Spanish series. Now, I am curious about his level in different languages because, well, I know that he learned English in a traditional way. He learned Japanese by using, I think, like flashcards and stuff, and then went to Japan and then kind of did like an AJAT method style, so it wasn't ALG. And the only ones he's used ALG with, from my understanding, is Thai.
Evildea has been learning Spanish. He's up to 1,050 hours now through a site called Dreaming Spanish. And that site was brought about by, well, founded by Pablo, who you see here. Now, Pablo is an amazing guy. I think we have a lot of common friends. He speaks fluent Thai, speaks Japanese, and Evildea made a call out to me.
Thai is the only one where I know he actually learnt to like a fluent level. So I'm actually kind of curious, how good is his Thai? In fact, Stuart, because I've been doing a lot of reacts with Stuart recently. If you guys don't know him, let me pull up his YouTube channel. Here he is, here's Stuart's channel. Now, I actually understand that Stuart is a fluent Thai speaker, and he does breakdowns of people's abilities. So Stuart, if you're watching this video, do a breakdown of Pablo's Thai. Let us know if you can hear anything strange about it, if it's just fucking flawless, let us know, because I would love to know what level he got to in Thai, because he actually went to the original ALG school.
And so today, in response to a call out made by Evildea, for the sake of truly evaluating the system, because people have been saying things this and that about Evildea's progress or lack thereof, lack of ability to speak at all, even though he's just passed that 1,000 hour threshold in Spanish.
It is very interesting, the comments I get. I get like lots of encouraging comments, people saying, wow, I'm doing really good, I'm doing better than them. And then there'll be those comments who are like, oh my God, you're so bad, I was way ahead of you at this point. And it's like, I will always go into this type of thing of, okay, those comments don't really mean too much unless I know your background and how you approach this. Like, unless you did exactly what I do, I can't really do a comparison whether I am ahead or whether I am behind.
Spanish. People are wanting to see, okay, so how does somebody who really speaks fluently, who has learnt with the ALG method, sound? Does it live up to expectations? I think that Pablo is doing great stuff. A lot of people use his site, they love his site, and it's working for them. I just want to evaluate this against his Thai language, because people have been saying, okay, so how's Pablo's Thai? This is one specimen that we can say, well, from what we understand, he's learnt through ALG. So let's see, has it worked? So again, today, I've got it up here in Audition with a spectrograph. And you see these colors down here, the more yellow it is, these are these vocal folds vibrating. So your voice box vibrating. The more it's vibrating, the more voice. And the darker bits are when the voice is switched off. The lower it is down here is the lower part of your voice, and the higher is the higher part of your voice. So in doing this, we can actually really see what's going on in Pablo's voice and see whether or not some of these native Thai traits in the voice have rubbed off on him naturally as he's developed the Thai language.
สวัสดีค่ะคุณพาโบค่ะสวัสดีครับขอบคุณนะ
Sodikap sounded nice.
ค่ะที่วันนี้มาคุยกันกับครูสมุกนะคะไม่เป็นไรครับ
Okay, so this is Kru Samok. Something interesting. He said.
วันนี้มาคุยกันกับครูสมุกนะคะไม่เป็นไรครับ
Okay, so this ไม่เป็นไรครับ
ไม่เป็นไรครับ
That's not really what you would say in English, and maybe in Spanish. De nada. Like, thank you for being here to talk to me today. De nada. It's nothing. You wouldn't say that in Thai. You would just probably say, "Kap, yindi kap, you're welcome." I get the feeling that he is translated directly from Spanish, de nada, subconsciously, and maybe that's sort of linked and come out. If you're really doing ALG, isn't that something that should have been short-circuited and then or cut out? Not sure. Anyway, let's continue.
So my thoughts with ALG is that when you start speaking, your brain just jumps to whatever language is probably mostly related to the language that you're learning and just reskins that language. So for me with Spanish, I know for a fact it's reskinning Esperanto in many ways. There are certain structures that are coming out which are purely Spanish because they're small, they're set. I've heard them so many times over and over. But anything that's got any form of complexity, it just seems to revert to a reskinned version of Esperanto. And that's pretty much what you do with any other language, realistically, when you're learning. You kind of, like most people, obviously, they go based on their native language, English. So I'm guessing Spanish, for whatever reason, was the one he kind of, in some ways, started to reskin. And which is why he probably used a structure which a Thai person wouldn't use there. In my series where I reacted to the videos from David Long, the guy who was, he taught via the ALG method for years, he specifically said that with ALG, you're building a separate brain for that language that's completely independent from the other languages you know. But my experience is that is totally not the case. Like, it's obviously every word is independent of every other word in some way, but they're also all interlinked, okay? But conceptually, it's just when you actually start speaking, it's not like you're opening up a new house as they would show in their little diagrams. It's not like you're walking through a new door. No, you're picking up the pieces of the language you know, you're grabbing the words you've heard and you're just shoving them on top. And then as you get corrected, that's when you start building out new structures. So you do start with whatever conceptual like understanding of that language you have from your native language. That's my experience.
About her Thai. I would say that she is being overly precise with her pronunciation. These ras in normal Thai speech, originally in Thai, there was no r. These were synthetically, artificially brought into the standard version of Thai because this r is thought to be as a high prestige sound, and you hear it in Sanskrit. Originally, if you listen to anyone from, say, Central Thai, you will hear basically la lua. It's kind of like a cross between an L and a la tap, la lua, la ling, la lua. And now I used to be a TV presenter, and I had coaching on the way that I spoke. They would teach you to r when you were presenting, but it's so unnatural as you present that sometimes you end up r-ing your L's as well. So it sounds like she's really sort of intentionally over-ring her R, maybe because she's speaking to students and she wants them to develop proper Thai. But I don't know if I agree with fully doing it like this, because it's giving students an artificial version of the language that's not really used on the street. But that's her call, and she's presenting.
ควรแนะนำตัวเองเป็นภาษาไทยให้กับทุกคนฟังหน่อยค่ะ
ครับผมชื่อ Pablo Roman
ผมชื่อ Pablo Roman. My name is, it's pretty standard, sounds pretty good. You could say ผม Pablo Roman นะครับ or ผมชื่อ my name is. Again, saying it ผมชื่อ sounds a bit more like a school kid saying it. But anyway, let's continue.
ผม
That's an interesting observation. More like a school kid saying it. Could it be because the type of material he watched early on was like created by teachers who were almost talking to them like kids, and that's the structure he adopted? Don't know.
ชื่อ Pablo Roman เป็นครูสอนภาษา
Okay, wow, look, that's interesting. Have a look at this. See this here? Kru, he said. It's actually kru. Let me show you something. Now, here's my trusty consonant compass that many of you have seen many times. Have a listen to the difference between this. So this is the letter
คอควาย
Kha kwai. Can you hear that? It's got aspiration. The throat is open. And you've got this air puffing over. And in Thai, they're originally a h and a k. Right now, it's sort of a combination. So it's kru, kru. You really hear the k there. Kru. Okay. As opposed to
กอไก่
Bokai. Okay, that would be gru, gru. So this letter here, which is the correct one, by the way, that's from the word guru. You know, you hear the word guru, we use it in English, G-U-R-U, guru, kru, because in Thai, this voicing of this letter from Sanskrit got lost. So guru, kru, kru versus
กอไก่
gru,
ครูครูครูครูครูครูครูครู
gru, gru. And you can even see it here. You can see that basically there's no real aspiration. The voice starts instantly. Yeah, that's the voice. If we get a chance later on to hear her pronounce k, you'll see the voice not activating until you get this puff of air, then the voice.
ครูสอนภาษาสเปน
So my takeaway from that is he has not adopted the actual sounds of Thai, and he's kind of probably used something from a language he knows or Spanish, and then use that in place of whatever the Thai sound is, which means he hasn't acquired that sound fully. Or maybe this is just one mistake, but I guess we'll see. But I've already seen comments in my Spanish videos where people are like, oh, okay, so Evildea. And like, it's pretty hard to avoid these comments because like they're everywhere. But like people saying like, my T is aspired when it shouldn't be. And I'm like, oh, okay. Wasn't like, I didn't even know that Spanish did that differently. And I've listened to 1,000 hours. Like, you know, am I going to try change it now? Well, in all honesty, I'm not the greatest with sounds. So I could probably try if I wanted to, but I'm not going to try because that's not part of ALG. But the point being is like, I listened to over 1,000 hours of it. I didn't just automatically start pronouncing those sounds correctly because people are already pointing out the sound mistakes I'm making. But maybe in a couple of hundred hours, I'll just automatically readjust and everything will sound correct.
บน YouTube ด้วยแล้วก็ทำเว็บไซต์ของตัวเองด้วย
Can I just say, like in general, his speech is very fluent, and you totally understand what he's saying, and still does have a very heavy Spanish accent on it, but he does have fluency.
Okay, so obviously he didn't develop the native accent. And the reason I bring that up is because early on, I'm going to say like with the hardcore ALG side of things, they would talk about the fact that you could develop a native-like accent. Obviously, Pablo didn't. He's got a Spanish accent in Thai.
ภาษาสเปนใช่ไหม
เป็น
คะ
โกสไม่ได้เป็นโรงเรียนแบบ
Okay, so even maybe from in English, because we'd say course, he seems to have this unaspirated even happening over the word course.
โกสไม่ได้
Ben course, you can hear it here.
course
And you see, I knew instantly which letter it was just looking at it. Course. And again, in Thai, we wouldn't use the word course really. We'd use the word หลักสูตร เป็นหลักสูตร. But okay, course. Most Thais would know what the word course is. But again, it's not the normal word a Thai would use. เป็นหลักสูตร.
course ไม่ได้เป็นโรงเรียนแบบ
That's an interesting one because he was like Pablo did a year at the school. You'd assume they'd use the correct word for course, whatever it was there. Like even in Dreaming Spanish, I must have heard the word course many, many times. I can't say it right now, but like maybe they were using the English word for it for whatever reason. I don't know.
ไม่มีครูสอนตรงแบบวิดีโอคอลอะไรแบบนี้ไม่มีมีแค่
Okay, ไม่มีครูสอนตรงแบบ video call. You kind of get what he means. There might be an easier way to articulate it, but he's sort of picking how you would describe something quite complex through a non-traditional way of learning with teachers.
เป็นเหมือนคล้ายๆกับสื่อการเรียนถูก
I'm not sure what Stuart means with that.
ไหมสื่อการเรียนหรือแบบ learning
Okay, so she has used the word เป็นสื่อ I get the feeling the way he's responded and the way he's reacting, maybe he doesn't fully understand what she means by สื่อ here. สื่อ is this generic term for medium of communication. And you can say หลักสูตรนี้สื่อเป็นภาษาไทยล้วนๆ This course only uses Thai as the method of communication, but you could also say เป็นสื่อการสื่อสาร. It's just communication material, or it's one way. It's talking about the actual media. Maybe he got it, but looking at the way he's sort of trying to put it together, maybe it wasn't apparent immediately.
เรียนหรือแบบ learning media ถูกไหมคะ
ใช่
ก็คือแบบ
Sometimes that does happen with ALG. I'm assuming just with like standard language learning methods where you hear something, you don't quite understand it. Then they add a few more words in a sentence later, and then you're like, oh, that's what they meant. And then you pull the conversation back around it. It's like you just need that little bit of extra more information and narrow in on it.
I noticed this earlier. I wanted to leave it to see if I heard it again, and I did. So I'll show you what I mean.
แบบ learning media ถูกไหมคะ
ใช่
Okay. ถูกไหมคะ? ใช่ have a listen to that.
ถูกไหมคะ
ใช่
Okay. Why is this an issue? In the Thai language, we do not have the word yes. A lot of foreigners learn that yes is Thai. This is not correct.
This sounds like it's going to be very similar to Mandarin Chinese. You do kind of have a word for yes. You got like 对, but then you've got, it's not the general way you would respond to like questions and stuff, or like just in I guess in general, you would basically, respond with the verb. And if you want to say no, you would add, a bull or male in front of it type of thing. So it's like, it doesn't quite line up for English. And sometimes like you'll get learners who will be like, they'll be like, 对, like just constantly, which just sounds unnatural. Or they'll do things like I do, which is should, which is kind of another way. But also not quite right either. Like in like some instances where I deploy, it's not right. It's a very hard thing to move away from when a language doesn't just have a generic word for just yes.
And it's usually because one, they're trying to translate one from one for what they have in their mother tongue. So, si, no, yes, no. And one of the first questions they'll ask a Thai, or they'll look in a book, how do you say yes? No, Thai, because they're told that. There's no such word. What Thai literally means, and I've got a clip from years back if you want to go and see it. Thai literally means it is. ไม่ใช่ it is not. So for example, if I said อันนี้เป็นแก้ว this is a cup ใช่ไหม or กระติก it's actually กระติก it's like a flask, but เป็นแก้ว this is a glass ใช่ไหม is it or is it not? I'm giving this yes no. This is a glass, is it? Is it? It's like this is it at the end. ใช่ไหม then the active verb is ใช่ so I'm saying ใช่ it is ไหม or is it not? So there the response could be chai, because chai is the actual verb being used. The general rule is to say yes, equivalent, which is basically an affirmation of what they're saying. You use the verb that they use. If you want to negate it, you put the word mai, not, before it. So mai chai, it is not.
Even similar to Mandarin Chinese, because you put may or mayo.
But you could not say, if I said, do you want a cup of tea? You could not say chai. Do you want a cup of tea? Or it is. That does not compute. because chai is saying basically it is. If I ask the question in Thai รับชาไหมครับ would you receive tea or ดื่มชาไหม เอาชาไหม เอา to want in this context เอาชาไหม would you want tea รับชาไหม will you receive tea ดื่มชาไหม will you drink tea you could say then เอาครับ I would like it but I wouldn't say chai I'd say เอา use the verb เอา not chai. And so here if I said would you like a cup of tea and you just said chai would you like a cup of tea it is what รับชาไหม รับครับ I will receive it or you could just say ครับ ครับ is affirming what is it? It means ขอรับ may I receive what you have said in the affirmative. There is no word for yes in Thai. But it seems that that habit, the need for a yes, has been permanently embedded in here. I'm sorry I'm spending so much time on this. If you were doing ALG and you listen to that much Thai, you would not hear ใช่ไหม used like that. So I'm wondering where this has come from.
ถูกไหมคะ
ใช่
Yeah, it makes me wonder if he took some type of like Thai short course before he went to ALG or something, or if literally it's, you know, like my Spanish experience. Once you start speaking, you just start reskinning another language.
ก็คือแบบ
ถูกไหมคะ ถูก There's even a joke in Thai, like when people are writing ถูกไหม ถูก they'll write it even with a sala sometimes just to be funny, but ถูก you wouldn't say ใช่ you'd say ถูก because ถูกไหมคะ ถูกต้องครับ that's correct. Which in English you could translate as yes, but you're actually saying ถูก correct.
โอเคค่ะ เห็นไหมทุกคนคุณปลาโบพูดภาษาไทยได้เก่งนะคะ ขอถามนิดนึง เก่งแล้วจริง
Okay, so she's just said, because you can see everybody, Kun Pablo, put Thai geng. You have to be careful when Thais compliment saying, put Thai geng na, like this in almost an endearing manner.
Yeah, you get this in Chinese and you get it in Japanese as well. Any learner would be well aware of this, where they're like, wow, your Chinese is so great, when all you say is hello.
Sometimes it's just to encourage the speech. It's not necessarily saying it's really good or not. And he says, lo, which, really? And I guess he knows that Thais do this as well.
ๆนิดนึงเก่งแล้วจริง
Lo, lo khap, lo khap. You could even drag that longer there.
ๆจริง
And she's saying, ting ting, no, it's true, because she probably knows also that this is something that Thais will say to anybody that even says like, Sawasdee krap, put Thai geng mak, or you speak Thai so well.
ๆขอถามนิดนึงคุณพาโบเรียนภาษาไทย
Okay, so there we are. You know how I mentioned about if the K sound, this aspirated K, were pronounced by a native Thai, what it would sound like. Have a look at this. You can actually see it here. So remember, Kun Pablo said, kru son, and it sounded like kru son. Have a listen to this.
ขอ
And I'm just going to isolate this bit here. Hear that air? That is the aspiration.
คอควาย
Here, the throat is wide open. Then the voice activates for whatever the vowel is. But you can see here the voice isn't activated here at all. If you had an activation, I've got this symbol here to sort of show the animation of the activation of the
คอ
voice.
ควาย
But here there is no voice action. It's just air, nothing but air.
ขอถามนิดนึงคุณพาโบเรียนภาษาไทยนานหรือยังคะ
Have a listen to this. This is not natural in normal spoken Thai. This over emphasis, I think, is a combination of one, presenting on YouTube, two, needing to speak the official formal version of Thai, but not actually the Thai that is spoken between Thais when they're talking together. So just realize that there is an extra.
It makes me really wonder if at this school, when they were teaching ALG there, because obviously they're not anymore. Actually, you guys probably don't know this, but they don't actually teach using ALG there anymore. But I wonder if the teachers were actually speaking this kind of like formalized TV style Thai to the students, because that would defeat the whole purpose of it. I'm assuming they didn't, but like it is an interesting question to ask.
Precise version of Thai that's being used, I anticipate, because she's expecting students to be listening to this.
คะ
ก็นานพอสมควรนะ
ประมาณ
Nan posomkwon. That was very natural for him to say that. Ko nan posomkwon. That's a pretty Thai way of saying a fairly long time.
กี่เดือน
6 ปีมั้ง
6 ปี
Hokpei Mang, that's very natural. It sounds natural of Pablo.
So he'd been learning for 6 years at this point. He did 1 year at the school, or was it 2? I can't remember. He did 1 year at the school for sure, though.
เลย
ใช่
อ๋อโหโอเคแล้วอยู่ไทยนานหรือยังคะ
ตอนแรกมาไทย1 ปี แล้วก็กลับสเปน2 ปี แล้วก็กลับสเปน2 ปี
ค่ะ
แล้วก็มาใหม่แล้วตั้งแต่มาใหม่ก็ 3 ปีแล้ว
โอเค
ตั้ง
ก็
แต่อยู่4 ปีที่ไทย
Okay, so you CP. So
โอเค
ตั้ง
ก็
แต่อยู่4 ปี
you CP. when he's thinking, and maybe sometimes not consciously, the tones aren't kicking into everything. But in general, it's okay.
ที่ไทย
รวมๆก็4 ปี
That's an interesting observation. If you haven't learnt a tonal language, you guys won't be aware of this, but like what happens for those who come from languages who don't have tones, such as, myself, when learning Mandarin Chinese, when you're first starting out, you've got the sounds and you've got the tones, and they're almost conceptually two different things. And when you get like stressed or you get into like some type of, heated debate or something, you can drop the tones, but keep the sounds, because I don't know why. It just, they seem to be conceptually two different things, and tones are just harder. And I'm assuming what's happening here is once the conversation moves away from, what he's comfortable doing, it's the same with me in Mandarin Chinese, your tones start to drop, which means that you haven't just acquired the tones as part of the words, or maybe those are words that he's learnt in maybe an even more traditional way. Maybe he read them in a book, and then like I can't even say that, but like I feel like if you had actually acquired the words with their tonal component, you would not have this effect where you drop tones when speaking, because I feel like that only comes from when you learn a word and then you've also learning the tone at the same time, but conceptually they're seen as two different things. And I also see it with like Chinese speakers when they speak English, when they get like really excited or like really angry or something, they can start introducing tones, into words where obviously in English we don't have tones, okay? And it becomes that's where you get the whole Chinglish thing from. So it's interesting to me that all these words that should have been acquired are having these issues that a manual learner, as the ALG speakers would say, are also suffering from the same problem. Because like, if you think about it, no person who speaks like Chinese or something, they randomly drop a tone on a word. What I have seen native Chinese people do is that because for a lot of them, they learn Putonghua, the standard Mandarin Chinese, almost as a secondary language, they will sometimes mess up the tones in Mandarin Chinese, but they're not actually messing them up. They're just reverting to their local dialects version of it. Because like, for example, where my wife comes from, Weifeng, the tones a lot of the time are just completely reversed compared to, standard Mandarin.
เรียนแบบหนัก
In Thai, there are different ways of saying when. Like, when are you going? When I went back to Spain, when I was a kid. If you're pinpointing a spot back in time, you could say ตอน เมื่อ or ตอนกลับสเปนครั้งแรก when I went back to Spain the first time. เวลากลับสเปน it's kind of a different feel, and in general by native speakers of Thai, เวลากลับสเปน when I go back to Spain, meaning like for the times that I go back to Spain, I like to eat Spanish food or whatever it is. It's this regular sort of thing or a habitual thing. But ตอนกลับสเปน when I went back to Spain ครั้งนั้น that time, you could use them interchangeably. There's some, like if you do a Venn diagram of when you use them, but his usage of it here probably wouldn't be what a Thai would use saying the same thing.
ปี
ใช่เวลากลับสเปนก็ไม่ได้เรียน
Again, Thai, okay, here, in general, for foreigners using the word Thai, the less you use it, the more natural you'll probably sound in Thai. I mean, it's just see if you can get through a day without using Thai, and rather choose other verbs, and you'll find that you will probably start sounding more natural in Thai.
แต่ก็ยังฟัง
แต่ก็ okay, have a look at this. So we have these two words here. แต่ก็ okay. ก็ is a special word, and it's pronounced like this. So you can see ก็ my algorithms, oh my God, I wrote 3,000 lines of code just to be able to achieve this, but got is an outlier. So I had to have a special section of the algorithm just for this one word.
Sorry, I just had a good laugh then because I'm a programmer, and sometimes you just spend ridiculous amounts of effort and energy on something that anyone else just looks at and just assumes nothing. They're just like, whatever.
But here we go. แต่ก็ say this with me. แต่ก็ actually I'm going to enrich with AI so you can see what the meanings of these, and you can see the romanization. So แต่ก็ so it's naturally for Thai แต่ก็ when you see this ไม่เอก your throat's going to be ramped down แต่ก็ and ก็ is always going to be starting higher. Now have a listen to this.
แต่ก็ยังฟังแต่ก็ยังฟังแต่ก็ยังฟังแต่ก็ยัง
You might be saying I'm nitpicking. If you were listening to that much natural input from native Thai speakers and these tones are locking into you, you shouldn't be making little errors like this with your tones for really, really common connector words. แต่ก็แล้วก็
Now, an ALG proponent might come back and say, well, he probably started speaking too soon. That would be the common comeback. And I don't know if that's the case with Pablo. Like, I don't know when he started speaking.
แล้วก็ it's just going to be something that sits in your muscles. And again, I know that Pablo has used other methods, the more traditional methods for learning, say, Japanese and maybe Chinese and other languages he's learned. Maybe this is testament to that you can't purely use ALG. If you've learnt languages before, other things are going to creep in. So I would say that if ALG were the only method used for learning Thai, I don't see how these kinds of patterns could have formed.
ผมพูดภาษาอังกฤษให้แล้วก็
ผมพูดภาษาอังกฤษให้ again, if you haven't got a copy of Cracking Thai Fundamentals, I have a whole section on the usage of hey in my thinking and meanings. ผมพูดภาษาอังกฤษให้ it almost means like I was พูดภาษาอังกฤษให้ delivering my speech to her in English. And then let's see,
แฟนพูดภาษาไทยให้เรา
แฟนพูดภาษาไทยให้เรา It's an interesting selection. Maybe a better selection of words would be ตอนคุยกันเขาใช้ภาษาไทยแล้วผมตอบเป็นภาษาอังกฤษ or so she used Thai and I would respond in English, or ตอนคุยกันผมพูดภาษาอังกฤษแต่เขาจะตอบกลับเป็นภาษาไทย I will speak in English and then she would respond to me in Thai. If you said it like he said it,
ผมพูดภาษาอังกฤษให้แล้ว
ผมพูดภาษาอังกฤษให้ you totally get what he means, but it's not the natural selection of words that a native Thai would use if they were explaining what he's explaining.
ก็แฟนพูด
So if this was truly a separate, like you had a separate language brain for this language, that wouldn't happen, essentially, because like you couldn't create a structure that you just weren't aware of existing type of thing. But if you were superimposing this over another language, that's quite a common occurrence, this type of thing. And it takes time to iron these out and work through these types of things.
พูดภาษาไทยให้เรา
แฟนพูดภาษาไทยให้เรา you get what he means. It's not what a native Thai would say in this context.
คุณพาโบคะแล้วเริ่มยังไงเวลาคุณพาโบ
See, I don't know what type of error that is, because this could be like it's perfectly grammatically correct, and maybe Stuart will say down in the comment section. It could be perfectly grammatically correct, but that's just not what people say. It could be one of those instances, which I don't know how ALG deals with that situation. Like, because you got to go to the ALG style of thinking. They're like, oh, well, everything you're saying you've acquired in some way. So how have you acquired this type of saying and this type of thinking if this is not how others speak and think in the language? It means that clearly your thinking is being superimposed from somewhere else.
เริ่มเรียนภาษา
Okay, listen to this. This for anyone learning Thai there. Just have a spectacular
That video.
face there. เริ่มยังไง and you hear it in my clips too. I exaggerate my in some of them, but in normal speech you will not get that degree of rolling of the tongue. Just เริ่มยังไงเริ่มยังไงเริ่มยังไงเริ่มยังไง
เริ่มยังไงเวลาคุณพาโบเริ่มเรียนภาษาไทยเนี่ยอยากรู้ว่าเริ่มเรียนยังไงมีวิธีการเรียนยังไง
ก็เริ่มไปโรงเรียน
ก็เริ่มไป just some of those key words haven't set into the muscles naturally. They're there, but they're not in the natural position. Okay, I want you to have a listen to just this bit.
นิดหน่อย
Say it with me. Knit. Notice how
I'm not going to try to say it. I'm just going to listen.
knit. When I get to the end of this sound here, actually, I'll write it for you here. So for those people who can't read Thai, and I'll just say enrich with AI. You can use all these tools for free, by the way. Come into crackinglanguage.com. If you have an AI key in there, you'll be able to sort of inject it here. But look at this. Knit noi. The voice stops. Knit noi. You might think it's a little thing, but this is critical. This is Thai. It's all in the throat. That's where the tones come from. That's where everything comes from. It's all control of the throat. Conscious, subconscious, it's there. Nit noi. Even if I'm saying it really fast. พูดไทยได้นิดหน่อย Nit. You see that stop there? พูดภาษาอังกฤษได้นิดหน่อย Nit. It stops. Now have a listen to this.
นิดหน่อย
So what's
It does sound vastly different.
happening is this sound here. So this is the dodek.
ดอเด็ก
Nit. This part of the throat in a native speaker, it's a pre-glottalized sound, da. And so at the end, this glottis is closed. Nit, nit, it has to close. Otherwise, it's not a dodec. If you say ninoi, it's almost like you don't have that there for the Thai ear. Nitnoi, but he's saying, you might not think that is a big issue, but in aggregate, and I guess I'll finish up. If the thesis is that through ALG, you're learning like a kid, you're being exposed to hundreds and then thousands of hours of comprehensible input, you're not actively thinking of articulation, phonology, grammatical structures, but the idea is because you're hearing so much of this stuff from native speakers, when it finally comes out, it's going to come out naturally. I would contend, and it's what I said in my clip earlier, obviously it hasn't fully worked here. Why do I say that? Pablo speaks Thai well. He speaks fluently. You understand 100% of what he's saying. If he needs to say something that's complex, he'll find the right words to communicate it, or you'll find words to communicate it so that Thais understand what he wants to communicate. However, the influence of his mother tongue is very, very strong, both in phonology, articulation, the muscles. We saw that over, kun kru, but he was saying kru because in Spanish you don't have this aspirated K. In things like ninoi, because in this D in Spanish, subconsciously is a totally different sound to Thai. In Thai, da dek. What a D actually is a pre-glottalized N, da dek. It's not even from the teeth. In Spanish, de. It's almost like a the off the teeth with the tongue out here. De nada, desde. Okay, and so whether he is seeing a D pop up even before he could read Thai, that mother tongue version of it, and sometimes that it just stays vocal and doesn't cut off the throat, still after thousands, and he has 6 years of speaking Thai with natives every day, still hasn't got those glottal stops happening where a native speaker would just have it naturally. And
there's some instances of this where I've kind of noticed this with my own Spanish. An example being is like, I'll hear people say vos for you, but then also boss, like a B sound. So it's like a V or a B. And I don't know if it's somewhere halfway in between or if it's like a regionalization where some do actually pronounce it as a B and some pronounce it as a V. And it's the same with all the V sounds. I hear them, some of them as V sounds and then some as B sounds. And I'm not sure if it's because my brain is literally unable to distinguish whatever that sound actually is, or if it's just a regional difference. And I've found that I've just kind of defaulted to saying a B sound. Now, I don't know if that's correct or not, but that's what's happened. And maybe that happened with him. Maybe he couldn't quite distinguish that sound, and then his brain just went, and just settled on one sound that he knew that sounded close enough. Similar things happen every now and then with the tapped R and the L sound. I will sometimes not quite hear the tapped R because it's not in my native language. It is in Esperanto, so I do pick it up most of the time, but it sometimes appears in Spanish in ways that I don't expect it to appear. And there's even tapped R sounds, which I'm sure sound like rolled R sounds, but are too short to be a rolled R. So I'm yeah, it's interesting.
Then finally, syntactically or grammatically, things like using Thai for the urge, the need of Westerners to have a word for yes and no, where in Thai we don't have them. It's a totally different concept of how you answer in the affirmative or negative, yet the natural gut reaction to respond is to have a yes-no response and use the word Thai. Sometimes it sounded more normal than others, but in general, you will hear Thai a lot less because we just don't have a word for yes and no in Thai. I would contend that if you were listening to that much comprehensible input of native speakers, they would not be saying Thai like that. So this is still being influenced from the subconscious of the mother tongue, which comes back to the question that I answered in my clip the other day. Do I speak from day one? Yeah, I do. However, I think I have this auditory intelligence that I've built up, the skill set of being able to understand how the mouth and the muscles work, even for sounds that are not in my language or any of the languages that I speak or my mother tongue, where I'll actively try and train my muscles, check with native speakers if they still say, that's not it, and then come back and forth until I can work those in. And then I'll be analyzing structures. Oh, I would have said this like this. I would have said Thai because I thought yes. Oh, you don't have yes? Okay. And then I would be drilling myself to not use the word Thai. But if you don't know, you don't know to do that. If you're not listening, you're not listening to do that. If you're being instructed, do not analyze this stuff, well, then you're just sort of switching off to it. The result is this: he is speaking fluently, but even after 6 years of speaking, it's not the holy grail of speaking native-like. So ALG, it has developed a fluent Thai speaker. Has it lived up to the claims of what ALG says it does? I'll let you decide from my analysis just now. And
It sounds like no, because like the claims were, if you watch David Long's speeches, the claims were basically that, and it's that with ALG, you will get further than a manual learner. That's what they said that they found in their program, that it has a longer ramp up, but in the end, you will be more native than anyone else. Anyone else who's not using, obviously, ALG, like more native-like. And then you'll see other people take this to the extension of being, oh, you will be native-like. And I think the desire to be native-like for so many people pushes them down to the extremes of trying to do like these types of methods, because there's the promise at the end that you will get that. And I have yet to see anyone come out of ALG who apparently sounds native-like. So I don't think ALG can make that claim, in all honesty. I think that was just marketing from day one, from the school who basically, they were just trying to attract students. And what better way to attract students than to say, look, you're going to spend more time, but you're going to sound better by the end of it.
please correct me if I'm wrong, if Pablo didn't learn fully from ALG, if there was other study and
That's also a good point. Like, if he didn't actually learn fully from ALG and he did like, stuff before the Thai school, or he did stuff afterwards, then obviously that kind of discounts ALG. Like, discounts it as being the fault of ALG.
involved, well, then that would explain some stuff. But let me know what you think. Let me know your experience. Have you developed native language or a native like Thai through only ALG? If so, I'd really love to hear it, because I want to hear some other specimens. I just don't know where to find them out there. So if you would like to be part of this or have it analyzed like this, let me know and we can take a look and see whether or not it's worked for you.
No, so the only one I know about is David Long himself, who was the guy who ran the school for ages and was deemed to be the star student. So I guess you could analyze his Thai, and that would be the extent of it. But yeah, anyway, that was fascinating. And it kind of makes me feel that everything I'm experiencing is kind of expected. Like, I'm going to walk away with an approximation of the Spanish language, maybe eventually after 6 years, a very good approximation. I don't know what Pablo's Thai level was in this, like if he was like C1 or whatnot. But basically, you're going to invest a lot more hours for pretty much a similar outcome anyway. So if the goal is to get native-like, then you're probably better off actually doing what Stuart here is doing and analyzing the sounds to the core to get as close as possible. Just sitting, listening to content, hoping it's not the solution from what I can tell, unless there's some other learners out there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And also, my freaking next Chinese update video is coming out in a few days, my LingoPie one. I have a lot of Chinese speaking with that one. Feel free, Stuart, to tear me apart linguistically to figure out, where my sounds and everything are off, and help me improve my Chinese overall. And I'll see you all in the next video. I don't know why I did it like that, but if you're not there, that's fine. I'm going to analyze every single noise you make while you're asleep and play it back to you.